Let's troubleshoot and fix a 42-inch Craftsman Lawn Tractor, model number 917271530, that will not start. I have determined that the starter solenoid is bad, and I will explain in this video how I reached this conclusion. The first step is to check the voltage of the battery. This is accomplished by putting the multimeter on DC voltage and putting the testers on the anode and cathode of the battery. The reading here is 12.82 volts, or fully charged. When we test the rest of the tractor, we should ideally see this voltage at other locations. After I did not see physical damage to the overall wiring of the tractor, I decided to check the starter solenoid by first checking the fuse to make sure it was not blown. This is accomplished by putting the multimeter on the continuity setting with the beep sound enabled. I had already removed the gas tank, which made it much easier to gain access to the starter solenoid for testing purposes.
So if you look at the multimeter right here, I'm going to check the fuse for continuity. So check your multimeter. Okay, I have a continuity. So quickly just check the fuse to see if it's good. Okay, so my fuse is good. I have nothing wrong with my fuse.
The next step is to check for voltage on the top two poles of the starter solenoid. The goal is to see if the starter solenoid would get voltage, and I was carefully listening for a clicking noise when I turned the ignition key. I used electrical tester cables, which made it much easier to test the two poles of the starter solenoid. If the key switch works properly and is not damaged, then the starting position should allow the voltage to proceed through the two poles of the starter solenoid and allow the engine to turn over successfully. Unfortunately, each time that I turned the ignition key, I did not see on my multimeter the 12.82 volts that I had just confirmed that my battery possessed. Therefore, I concluded that the starter solenoid was not getting voltage and the magnet was not moving to the top poles to allow the starter to spin and the engine to turn over properly. Before installing the brand new starter solenoid, I tested it to ensure that it clicked when 12.82 volts were applied. It worked properly.
Okay, so this is a good solenoid.
Next, the negative terminal was removed from the battery so that the starter solenoid could be disassembled from the tractor and removed. Then I placed in the brand new starter solenoid. This involved simply replacing a few bolts that were holding it in place and replacing the wires. I then reassembled the tractor and proceeded to test it by turning it on.
Put it in full choke. Neutral, brake is on.
The tractor started immediately on the first crank. If you found this video helpful, please leave a comment, give a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and click on the bell icon for future updates. Thank you for watching.